A new residential complex for unhoused people was just unveiled in Contra, Costa County. It is something that's happening across the Bay Area, but this involved the transformation of a vacant commercial building. John Ramus on the opportunities and challenges of turning empty offices into places for people to live.
Housing advocates often say the solution to homelessness is to build more homes, but that can be a pretty slow process. To do it quickly requires a little imagination. For years, homeless advocates have talked about turning unused office space in San Francisco into housing. In San Pablo, they've actually done it.
And I am so proud to be here at the opening of what is a model project to really help solve homelessness in our community.
On Saturday, officials celebrated the completion of El Portal Place, a 54-unit complex of permanent supportive housing for the homeless. The county had planned to demolish an old building they own next door.
Okay, we will look at funding to build micro-housing on our vacant site. And then we started talking to Jerry Overall and his team because they owned a vacant office building on this site.
Jerry Overall founded Overall Construction in the 1960s, and he built this call center for Pac Bell in 1971. When the need for long-distance operators ended, the building became obsolete as well. But rather than knock it down, Jerry has offered it a new life.
Well, this is a conversion from office to housing, right? And that's pretty hard to do.
So he handed the project over to his grandson, Jared Gregg.
A few of the challenges are meeting modern code, structural code, seismic code. We are pretty close to the Hayward Fault. Getting all new MEP systems, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, dividing the building into units.
And they handed it down to construction supervisor Tony Britton.
When I walked into this place, it was like, oh my God, what are we going to do here?
Tony had to deal with problems that popped up on an everyday basis. The first had to do with opening up the center of a concrete building to allow light into the apartments.
When I came up here, I was like, oh wow, how are we going to do this? Because now we got to take this floor out along with that concrete. And as we demoed the concrete out, I ran into another situation of how we're going to get these beams down and get them out that door.
It was one headache after another, and Tony says he had to act as a counselor for his crew to keep the vibe positive. It wasn't easy, but when finished, he had created a new purpose for an old building and new hope for people living on the streets.
You're going to find things that you didn't know was here, and you're going to have to continue to move forward and be very creative and think out the box.
El Portal Place took only 2.5 years to complete, an unheard of timeline to create 54 new homes. Converting existing buildings is not the way construction is usually done, but it may be the quickest. And that should matter if you consider the housing shortage to be an emergency situation.
El Portal Place will be operated by the county's health department, and it will feature on-site case managers, mental health services, and even includes a small dog park so clients can keep their pets with them.